Okay, organizing. Good idea to come up with a thesis first so that you know what you're trying to prove. Your thesis must define your character as dynamic and make a claim about what changes in the character. You're making an argument that this character you've chosen is a protagonist. Then this character is going to have to be pitiable, is going to have to be a character that changes through the novel. You must use the narrative arc in the body of your essay to prove your claim. A thesis in a literature essay is a strong claim that your whole essay works to test and prove. It will be the last sentence in your introduction paragraph, so it needs to be on the first page, probably in the neighborhood of 1/3 to halfway down. It cannot be a statement of fact or a statement of personal taste. It must be a claim that you need the whole rest of your essay to help prove. Once you've got your thesis, then you come up with an outline. You can in fact use the 5 plot points as your outline. Use the 5 points of the narrative arc to help you come up with topic sentences. You should also review the stories and your notes, your free writes and your brainstorms to help you develop your points. About drafting and revising, you can draft your essay on computer if you draft well on a computer, but I recommend that if you have noticed that your thoughts are clearer and better focused when you're writing on paper, then write on paper, for goodness sake. Draft on paper, you can put it on the computer later, but it's nicer to start with a strong draft that makes sense and has good logic and uses evidence well. Once you've drafted, take a break for at least a half an hour, preferably a day if you have the time. The longer your break, the easier it will be for you to revise your essay. The longer your break, the easier it will be to see the gaps and the distractions in your writing. Things you need to add to make your point well, things you need to cut because they do not work to prove your thesis. Maybe you have some long sections of summary. Get rid of them, for goodness sake. None of your readers need you to summarize this book. We know it really, really, really well. I don't need you to tell me he did this and then he did that. I need you to make an argument. Print and revise. Hardly anyone can revise well by reading their own work on a screen. So print it. Reread what you wrote and look for gaps in the ideas or points, things you thought you explained or proved pretty well but didn't. Go back to your essay, plan, and the stories and your notes, and see if you have the point that you skipped somewhere around there. Add the reasoning, the examples, the quotation, interpretation of the quotation as needed. Print again, revise again. Reread what you wrote, looking for organization problems. Check over all the body order. Move paragraphs as needed. Check each body paragraph for paragraph organization. They should all be top-down, general to specific, beginning with a topic sentence and then proving the topic sentence. Move as needed sentences or phrases. Add needed reasoning, examples, or interpretations of quotations. Print and revise again. Is it full? Is the draft full? Do you need to add content? Is it smooth? Do you need to add keywords and transitions to connect your paragraphs and your points? And proofreading comes last. Do it last, and do it at least 3 times. Why do it last? Because if you've been proofreading while you've been writing, it means that you've been wasting a lot of time fixing sentences that you may not even need. Okay, proofread. Number 1, check your sentence types first, because errors in sentences cause more confusion for readers than smaller errors do. Make sure each sentence is either a simple sentence, a compound sentence, a complex sentence, or a compound complex sentence. Make sure there is a logical relationship between a subject and a verb there. Make sure each sentence is well organized, with the most important item in the sentence first. Run-on sentences, comma splices, and fragments continue to be the most common types of errors I see, but mixed construction sentences are growing because more students are proofreading on screen and making a lot more mistakes because of it. In fact, studies have shown that proofreading on screen causes students to make mixed construction sentences. Sentences that loop off into nowhere land, that begin in one place and end up somewhere entirely different. You do it because you're laser focused on a little bitty point on the screen and you fix that and you don't notice that you've screwed up the whole sentence by doing so. It is an error that people don't make when they're proofreading on paper. Okay. Check your tenses. You're writing about a narrative. Most commonly, when people write about action, they shift their verb tenses from past to present, back and forth. Your verb tenses need to be consistent. When writing about literature, the preferred tense is the historical present, meaning that your sentences should use the present tense, as if everything that happens in the book continues to happen in the moment that somebody picks it up and reads it. This accepts quotations, of course, which must be exactly, word for word, what appears in the novel. Shifts in tense confuse readers because they lose their sense of a timeline when you do, and this can lead to confusion in cause-effect structures and plot and character analysis. 3, check your word choices and word forms. Prefer words that are specific and concrete. Prefer words that you know how to use correctly and that say precisely what you mean, without confusion or ambiguity. A lot of your meaning and your trustworthiness as a writer are based on your selection of the right words. Errors in word form usually mean that a reader has to read some of your sentences twice, which is not pleasant for the reader. Errors in word form are a type of usage error. You want to know when a participle should end in ed and when it should end in ing, as well as the fact that seen is a participle and not a past tense verb. I've been seeing that a lot lately. Students saying, I seen something. No, you didn't. You saw something. Okie doke. And finally, check your punctuation and capitalization. When I started teaching, I didn't have any students who made errors in punctuation and capitalization, but over the past 20 years, increasingly, students have more and more and more types of errors in punctuation and capitalization. Okay, for most people, punctuation and capitalization are easy fixes because these are errors that result from bad typing and not from misunderstanding. So, studying the page closely usually resolves those. That said, if you know that you have problems with these, then you should seek help. There's a website called about.com, and it's primarily for second language learners, but there's a ton of advice there and lists and all kinds of things that can help people with their grammar. In addition, Fresno City College always offers a grammar class or two, and you should take one. The benefit of having good grammar lasts a lifetime. Trades and professions require daily writing that has to communicate quickly and clearly to coworkers and clients. Some of these career fields require hourly writing that must stand the scrutiny of the legal system. I hope this has been helpful.